Welcome everyone to the Megavision Show, episode 104. I am Chris, the editor of Megavisions, and joining me this week is Scotty to discuss our trip to New York to attend the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo last weekend. Scotty, how's everything going in your neck of the woods?
Oh boy, I am recovering, but hello and thank you. Hello everyone. Yeah, just recover. This was the recovery week, even though it was a 4 day work week after driving to and from New York. That was a 7 hour drive for me, which wasn't that bad, honestly. But even though I had a 4 day work week, it still felt like a regular old 5 day.
Yeah, that was quite the trip. So, yeah, this is our first episode that we've done actually since our PAX East, like post PAX East
Oh
podcast.
wow,
So
it is.
we're now, you're right, we're now here to do our kind of post Long Island Retro podcast. So it'll be fun. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about what we did throughout the weekend, and we also did Pole Calibur for the first time, which is going to be really cool. So we'll talk all that and more later on. But before we get into that, Scotty, yeah, let's just jump in and more about what we've been up to and just kind of give people I guess, an update on what we've been up to since PAX East. So, what have you been up
Yeah,
to, buddy?
it's been a while.
Yeah.
Um, no, I mentioned kind of recovering, but like outside of that, this was the first of kind of my quote unquote summer tour. It kind of ended up happening this way that going from not many cons to we went up to Boston, and now recently we went to New York, and then pretty soon is the Dreamcast 24-hour marathon out in Chicago, and then a couple months or no, that same month, the end of that month, Rachel and I are going down to Florida to go to Disney. So this is my summer tour. I've been taking the little bat that she made that looks like the bat from Illbleed, the Jimmy Bat, and doing like Jimmy Bat on tour, um, like with on socials and crap. But no, I mean, really, like I've just kind of now I'm in super prep mode for the marathon as much as I can be, even though it's not at first time it's not at my house. We finally accepted this place is too small to have more than like five people in the living room, So TJ out in
You
Chicago
guys
is
may
more than
do.
happy to host. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I mean, I think you guys did a great job with the space that you had for, I went out, I think was it 3 years ago now? I don't even know how long
that
it's been, but
yeah, because that would have been 2019. Yeah,
yeah, so yeah, I went out there for that one. That was a lot of fun. But like you said, I think the space is a little cramped. But hopefully you guys will have a lot more room over at TJ's place. I'm excited to see what comes from that. It's
yeah,
gonna be
he
pretty
has an
cool.
actual house. It's not our duplex and whatever. And I think honestly, like the way we made it through 2019, you guys came in September. We had literally just moved in May. So I think we were on that high of like woohoo, new house, new place, friends over, first official party. And then the last one we were like coming back from pandemic and like, oh, we're not ready to socialize. It feels more cramped in here than it is. Even though there were less people than when you were physically here, it was still too crazy. So, but no, TJ's more than happy to help, and he's the techie, he's the IT guy of Megavisions if there is anyone, and he's the Dreamcast collector. So, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I've been sort of watching him play and stuff. But what should I go into that, or did you want to talk about how you've been recovering?
Yeah, no, I guess yeah, I was just gonna say, for me, I guess this was kind of the last big event that I guess Megavisions at least is gonna be doing from a convention standpoint.
Yeah,
Until at least I guess MagFest. I don't know if we're gonna have an actual booth there this year or not. We haven't really discussed it yet, but
small things may
I
pop up. Who knows?
yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. But I would yeah, I do plan on going to MagFest. So that's kind of this was my last one, and I could kind of relax for a few months until the craziness of MagFest starts, and that really kind of kicks off everything, right? Like every
It
year, almost
always
MagFest
does.
is kind of
Yeah,
like it's in January, and
whether
so
we're
I'm
ready for it or
excited for
not.
that. Yeah, and I talked to a few other people there who did go, and they all kind of said, like if you were gonna skip any MagFest, like last year was the one to skip, and I did end up doing that. And what's funny, I'm glad I did because I'm pretty sure I had COVID right around like Christmas time frame, and so
Oh, right.
I was feeling like crap, and I just don't think it was a good idea, regardless, for me to go, had I wanted to or not. But I'm really looking forward to this one, and yeah, I can't wait. So. Yeah, I'm thankful that the con season's over for me at least, and I am
Yeah,
going to recover
the
for a
summer
while.
con season anyway. I will say we like I just thought of this right now. I'm sure you might have a bunch of little like horror conventions coming up around you because this is kind of when they start to pop up around Halloween and stuff, or around autumn.
Yeah, yeah. There's one. It was funny actually. I think the one out in Atlantic City happened the same weekend we were in Long Island Retro.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I
There was a
think that
lot
one
happening
just
that weekend that I forgot about.
yeah, there was a lot. But there was one that I wanted to go to really bad. It's called the I think Creature Feature Weekend out in Gettysburg.
Oh,
I've been wanting to go because I love going to Gettysburg. It's one of my favorite places out in PA. But uh, the Creature Feature one is actually takes place in Gettysburg, and they have a lot of awesome people that go. Like Joe Bob goes, and a lot of other people, and they do a lot of because they have a neat theater in town too. And I think that they
mm.
run a bunch of like horror movies during the weekend. That's the one I'd love to go to if I could attend any of the kind of the local horror conventions. But right now, I'm not sure if I'll make it out to that one. So I would definitely like to get out to something like that though.
I gotcha. We have a little uh flea market tomorrow that is it's this company or this site or something, or it was an event at one point called Horror Realm. It's hard to say quickly, but Horror Realm. It's like one word there.
So like horror realm.
Yeah, horror.
Thinking to
Yeah,
get
that's a different type of event,
well,
but yeah.
yeah.
The no, it. I mean, I'm excited for it because last time we went, like Rachel got these matte Night of the Living Dead picture. It was definitely not paintings, but someone like put an image on a matte block, or a matte sheet or
Mhm.
whatever. And I mean, last time I was there, I found this was when there were only four Predator movies. I found them all on Blu-ray for like $5 altogether. So it's
Oh
like,
wow.
yeah, let's hit this thing up
Yeah.
again and see what crazy I'm calling it now. Most of the show is going to be people selling VHS tapes now, but we'll see. So yeah. And we did.
Yeah,
What's
VHS
funny
tapes are
is
the
the
new
Long
thing.
Island Retro. If there were any two people that were gonna go to this other thing, the same weekend as Long Island Retro down in West Virginia was a Monster Squad 35th anniversary like screening slash. I don't know if it was really a convention so much as just like a meetup for fans or something. But
Did some of the were the actors there?
yes, I am
Like,
horrible with names, but the guy that plays Corey, who the cooler older kid of the crew, and then the main guy, I'm so bad with names, but the main kid, and then basically the older, cooler Fonzie type kid of the group.
God, yeah, man. I'm if I had to be put on a spot right now, I would have a hard time naming all the kids right now. But I know all the kids.
Yeah, but both of them were there, and it was like a screening of it, and I think maybe just like a panel of them or something, but some like cool get together that I saw like 2 weeks before Long Island Retro. It was coming through my feeds, and I was like, oh man, I definitely would have hit. That's closer than Long Island for us, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm just happy that stuff is happening around that movie that you either know or you don't. So
Yeah, I remember I missed out on one of those Monster Squad uh, screenings down at the Alamo Draft House in
oh yeah,
Austin. This was years ago. It was like maybe 15 or 20 years now ago, and I think it was one of the first times they did one of these, and I was so excited, but I wasn't able to make it out there. I was really bummed. But Monster Squad, man, I'm glad now it's becoming kind of the cool thing,
yeah.
for 80s horror stuff. And I'm glad it's getting that attention because growing up, everyone I don't think it ever got any sort of respect from the horror community. It was kind of a kids movie, and
Hmm.
I really loved it growing up. It was one of my favorite movies because it was one of the only ones that really featured all of the like Universal monsters in one movie in a more kind of updated setting. And that's what I love so much about it. And I just thought it was such a neat, cool idea for it. And I'm just glad it's getting its just due. So I know that's way out of the left field, but I just have to say that about that movie.
I mean, when else are we gonna get to talk about Monster Squad on the Megavision podcast? So
True.
you know.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
no, but
And
yeah,
what's
I
funny
I need
too,
to.
over the weekend,
Mhm.
we did get a sliders joke over the
Oh my
weekend too that
gosh,
we'll have
yeah,
to we'll have to maybe we'll get to that later on. But I that jogged my memory for that, and we'll have to
yeah,
talk
that
about
was
that
funny.
later. Yeah. So
Yeah, but no, I mean, like otherwise, I kind of I've before Long Island Retro, I was sort of playing and watching stuff. I've almost finished the game Stray. I was in a good stride with that game because I was playing it almost every night. It's a short game. I'm just near the end, but like I got to the very end and then like Long Island Retro stuff happened, so I just haven't finished it yet. But it's okay. I need to read Alicia slash Raven Quill's review because she gave it a 5 out of 5, and I'm seeing like everywhere that people love it, and I don't know why. Not to be mean, but like I've played way better games than this. I don't know why everyone is so
Maybe you
obsessed
need
with
to
it.
install one of the hacks that allow you to put like a different kind of animal in there.
Be
Maybe there's like a
Garfield.
Bubsy,
Yeah,
Garfield or Bubsy or something like that would make it a lot more fun.
maybe. Maybe. It's not a bad game. It's definitely impressive for an indie game, but yeah, making my way slowly through that. And then we've kind of been watching shows here and there. The one that's coming to a close soon, maybe by the time this gets released, I don't know, but the show Only Murders in the Building, or shoot, I don't even know if that's the actual title, because all we call it is Murders. The one with, oh my gosh, what is wrong with me in names today? Martin
Is
Short,
that like
Steve
Steve
Martin,
Martin?
and can't remember the other girl's name that lends very little to the show. Have you been watching that at all? The mystery on Hulu?
I no, I saw a little bit of the first episode and it didn't really, you know, get us, so we didn't watch it.
That's all right. It's not bad. It's yeah, it's just there's just so much crap out there
I
that's
know.
like not Stranger Things or not a DC TV series or MCU that it's honestly hard to find something that can grab you. Like we have tried to get through that Resident Evil live action thing, and it is, I know I'm a Resident Evil super fan, blah blah blah. That aside, when that was announced, I was like, A, what more can you add to Resident Evil, like that universe? And B, what new thing can you possibly do with zombies now? So I was like, we'll give it a shot, but it's genuinely one of the worst paced shows I've ever watched.
And I a lot of these new shows that are coming out now, it seems like it's such a there's such a sign of like the pandemic still. Like it seems like
Oh
everything's
yeah,
shot on such a small set.
right.
Everything's green screen. Everything's like done on seemingly like such a small budget, and so just everything like just looks kind of the same. Like that Resident Evil stuff looks just like so many other movies that have been released lately. And I think that I don't know that's for I think maybe for me that's one reason that that stuff just doesn't really hook me to watch it. I wanted I heard about a new Resident Evil series. It's like okay cool.
Right.
I watched one trailer or something for it, and I was like wow this is not what I wanted for
It's
this. So
not. Graham finished it, and he's been not raving about it, but it's honestly his comments on Twitter. Like him and I got into a conversation about it on Twitter, and he said he like was eventually rooting for Umbrella by the end of it. I'm like, that is very interesting. So I need to see how this plays out. It's just yeah. It's just,
I don't base anything of mine off like Graham's.
right. That's true though.
You're right.
Yeah.
He's so weird in what he likes with things. So I can never tell if it's gonna be something I like or hate. I don't know.
Yeah, he was the hottest take of the hot takes out of I think Megavisions because he was always on the very opposite side of things, which is amazing though because it sparks discussion and stuff. So
Yeah, and I feel like he's completely genuine. He's not a contrarian. I
that's the
don't
thing
think,
too.
but,
Yeah. Hmm.
it's just weird.
Yeah,
It's the British in him, I guess.
I guess so. Yeah, different
Yeah.
worlds, different regions. All that crazy stuff. But no, I mean, otherwise, like I've actually honestly started watching movies like during my lunch break, and I think I am in love with Ryan Gosling now. I don't know. I came into his career late with I think no joke, I think Blade Runner 2049 was my
Oh
introduction to
wow,
him because he's just been in
that's
movies
a
that
good one.
have never super been in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Except for
The
Drive,
Notebook?
which
That's not something
every
you
time I mention him, everybody's like, The Notebook. I'm like, he's in that? I've never seen it. But
Yeah. Oh God, I hate that movie.
yeah, no, I mean, I won't go long about this, but all I'll say is like, because I wanted to, Corey and I recently for another for another podcast, we'll maybe plug at the end, but we watched Drive. Corey had never seen it, so he loved it, and I was like, yeah, I forgot how just solid of a movie this is. It's not for everybody, but it is a good movie.
That's the one he has that awesome jacket, right? The
Yes,
yellow jacket or something. Yeah.
it's a white jacket and it has a scorpion on the back. Or
Yeah.
wait, yeah, scorpion. No, that's a really solid movie. Very artsy, a little bit up its own butt sometimes, but still really good. And he was like, Corey was like saying things about his acting. I'm like, this is basically his character in Blade Runner, that he's not doing anything crazy like, involving or immersive. So I was like, I got to check out his other stuff to see if he's not just a one note. And he's done varying things. The one I'm enjoying right now and kind of watching in pieces is The Nice Guys with him and Russell Crowe, that I remember seeing trailers for that, but like it fell off my radar real fast after it, because it's so hard to keep up with movies anymore anyway. But no, I've been enjoying the library of Ryan Gosling. Got to get ready for Barbie, right?
Yes, and I'm excited about that one. But there's one that you have to watch, and the name of it is escaping me. But people listening will certainly probably pick up on it really quickly. But it's basically him. He has some sort of handicap, mental illness, or some sort of psychotic breakdown or something. And so Laura's in The Real Girl is what it's
Yeah,
called.
I do.
Have you seen that?
I know of it, and I have
Okay,
not
yeah.
seen trailers, but I have heard the concept, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch this, or if it's
So
something I need to watch like alone on a Saturday afternoon to.
it's actually really good. It's really good. So for those listening, and if you never heard of it, it's basically Ryan Gosling. He has some sort of ish. I can't remember if he has a mental handicap or not, but he ends up getting a sex doll as basically as a
Like a
girlfriend,
coping
but it's more
mechanism
of like
almost.
yeah, but it's more of a, I don't think it's not of sexual nature. It's a
Right.
it's really weird. The premise sounds like weird and gross, I guess, but it's actually wholesome in a
Hmm.
way, because the town, like shows it, because he doesn't come outside, and this is kind of, they use this as a way of like getting him out and starting to become a part of society again. And so they accept her as his girlfriend, and he starts talking more, and you kind of see that. And so it's
Oh,
actually
like the
kind of a
people he
wholesome.
interacts with accept her. Oh, okay. I didn't know about
Yeah,
that.
so
That is
they
interesting.
understand. Yeah, so they kind of get and see what's happening, and
Hmm.
so they think that if they accept her, he'll come out more, and it shows that kind of growth and everything.
Okay.
It's actually very wholesome. And we watched it with the kids. I know that sounds crazy too, because we had seen it before and we know
Hmm.
of it. But I think when Elliot saw it the first time, he cried at the end of of the end of the movie, because it is very an emotional movie.
Okay.
So I think if you're looking for something that shows something from Ryan Gosling, that shows like maybe some different acting chops and stuff from, like The Drive or Blade Runner, where he's
He's just like the
there's
stoic badass in those.
right. Yeah, so there's not necessarily a lot of that range there. You could see
Yeah.
something different from him in Lars and the Real Girl.
That's why I wanted to, because like only Blade Runner and Drive, he's almost the same character in those movies, and that's not a slam on him because it fits those movies. But like, but yeah. So oh, that was the other one I saw that just came out for him, The Gray Man, which wasn't too bad. It was super hard though seeing Chris Evans as a bad guy. Like it was not believable. I don't know how to explain that. He's Captain America now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was strange, but no, the I am enjoying The Nice Guys because Ryan Gosling actually plays like the bumbling idiot in that, which is so different for what he's known for. So it's fun.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no,
kind of
that's
been
good.
yeah,
I'm a Ryan Gosling fan too, so I'm with you on that one.
right on.
So,
What about you,
yeah,
sir? What have you been doing?
it's been crazy, but man, I've enjoyed basically almost 2 years since I retired from the military, and it's been awesome. I've been able to spend so much time with my family, get a lot of work done on Megavisions, but the long vacation is finally coming to an end, and I'm going to go back to work for the Air Force as a civilian starting here in a few weeks. So um,
Down to our level now.
yeah, back to being an employee again, I
Just a
guess. But
normie.
yeah, no, I'm actually really excited about it. I will say, I thought that I was going to be like happy and never, really having anything to do with the Air Force again, at least from a professional standpoint.
Sure.
Um, but I will say, like when the whole Afghan like withdrawal happened, and I'm not going to get like political or anything like that, but just when all of the operations were ongoing for that, when the Air Force was going in and basically air flighting civilians out of Afghanistan as the Taliban were taking back over the country. I was seeing all that, and I really missed being involved in those type of things from a kind of public affairs standpoint of what I did in the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I was like, man, I really wish I could get back and do that again.
Hmm.
And an opportunity presented itself back in my same office I was working at. A position opened up, and I was able to get it. So yeah, I'm really excited. But from the on the Megavision side, I'm also excited because we've been promoting some staff kind of within to handle a lot of the responsibilities that I had been doing, managing the website, editing and planning all the reviews and that sort of thing. So I will say, Alicia Graves, who you mentioned earlier, Scotty, she
Mm-hmm.
stepped up and she's been now promoted as our reviews editor. So I'm very happy about that. And so she's kind of handling all the reviews and coordinating all of those. And then Anti Chris and Sam Franzman have both kind of stepped up and they're now working a lot of the website stuff and the news side of things. So I'm really excited about that. And so what that's going to allow me to do is more of the time that I have to work on Megavisions is going to be dedicated to producing the magazine.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, and I don't know if we've really said it officially on the podcast before, not maybe the last episode, but I'm now handling the bulk of the design and layout on Megavisions going forward. I finished up issue 2, but with issue 3, it's going to be me kind of full time doing it. But I am working with Sketchcraft on it, and we've formed this like really great kind of dynamic where he helps me envision kind of the layout on a particular, like say a review, and he gives me kind of some blobbies, that I could kind of base it off of, and I go and build that. And then when that's done, we kind of add our retro filtering on it. And so we're going to kind of go back to that retro style, but it's going to be a completely new and updated kind of design within that. And so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be kind of a blend between our old style and the new style that we've formulated, but it's going to produce I think a really great looking magazine. And the best part is it's going to be produced easily more producible than what we were doing before, whereas is like designing everything in Photoshop. That was a long, drawn out process, but it made the magazine look amazing. But I think we've formulated a process between Sketch and myself where we can reach that level of quality, but do it much faster in actually in design. And so it's gonna be cool. I think our readers are gonna be really excited about that. But that's kind of where we're at with Megavisions right now. And as we transition, or as I transition back into working again, I'm excited on that side of things. But overall, this is I'm excited where we're at. Megavisions is growing. We're getting more people put in places of kind of like higher responsibility and everything. And yeah, so that's kind of what I've been up to since PAX East and
Yeah.
where we're going. So been
Yeah,
kind of crazy. So
it's gonna be good. I think I think a showing of that or a telling of that we're moving back. What is this, phase 3, phase 2.5 now? But like
yeah.
something that stuck with me when I met Sketchcraft in the first too many games is he said it takes a solid 3 issues to really get your footing. And we did have that when we got up to issue 9 for the legacy stuff, but then we revamped things and it had that smooth, cleaner look, which made sense at the time, but really for our overall not atmosphere, there's a word I'm missing, but like we're going back to that rough around the edges as opposed to straight lined up. I'm not wording this correctly. This would be so much easier if I was just showing people the different issues, But
Yeah,
what
it's
I'm
like
what I'm
the original one's more kind of
sorry,
vintage, like kind of like it's an aged look to it.
been sitting in the attic and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
The reason I come to that, or to circle it back around to Long Island Retro, the beat up edges and the like faded stuff that seems to resonate more with the people that are in our demographic, even though the straight smoothed out kind of clean look that also resonates, but on a different level. But I think with our content it makes sense to go back with Sketchcraft. Not that he ever really technically left the crew or anything like that, but to work with that worn look because we're worn. No, I don't know. No, it just makes sense. And if you saw the reactions to people and just the feedback from conventions and people that get it in their hands, I think they're going to be pretty happy with how things are uh, panning out. I That was a long-winded way of saying I'm excited for the future as well.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, all right, that's kind of what we've been up to.
Hmm.
We're gonna jump into our Long Island Retro Talk in a minute, but before we do that, I just want to quickly remind our listeners that they can join our Patreon to subscribe to Megavision's magazine. Issue 3 is coming down the line really soon, so you could go to www.patreon.com/megavisions, and once you become a patron, every issue will ship right to your door, and each issue of Megavisions contains 64 pages of Neo retro coverage spanning every console generation and features new original cover art by Sketchcraft. So remember, go to www.patreon.com/megavisions to secure your next issue of Megavisions magazine today. All right, that's an ad break, Scotty. So if we want, we could take a quick break and pee real quick if we need to, or we could just jump right in and go with the rest of the show.
I'm good to keep going if you are.
Okay, yeah, let's keep jumping into it. All
Word.
right, let me just see. Okay, we're back. And all right, Scotty, this is why we come here. Long Island Retro Gaming Expo. This was our first time ever going there. But I guess maybe we should, before we jump into the talk, we could take a step back and because I guess the seeds for us coming there were planted at Too Many Games a few years ago,
Yeah.
where we were having our Pole Calibur tournament just at our booth because at that point in time we didn't. It was more of an experiment, really, right?
Oh yeah, that whole weekend was an experiment between a panel that we had and
Oh
that,
yeah,
and
that's
just
huge.
having a booth, like the first full-fledged tablecloth, standee with all the art. Sketchcraft was there, Marson was there, I was there. Antichrist and Corey Tornado Jones were attending and like our biggest fans, who are now part of the
Yeah.
staff and everything. So yeah, that was very much that was ground zero, so to speak.
That's a lesson out there. Become our fans and we'll hire you.
Yeah,
So
just give us
just
hugs and wear our T-shirt, and
yeah,
hey, you could join staff.
yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, tell us you like us and
Yeah,
we'll love you back.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that was that because that was 20. Oh sheesh, I don't know, 2019, 2018.
2019, I
That's
would
hard to
believe either
gauge.
one of
Yeah,
them.
I'm not sure, but we had a booth, we had a panel, we had Pole Calibur at the booth, and we're like, yeah,
Yeah.
let's do a tournament, and we had a little trophy thing, and then we started to see outside of ourselves a little bit when tournament starts at 3 o'clock. Well, at like 2:40 we had a crowd, and I either looked to you. I think I looked to Antichrist, who was like, he was ready to go because he's the fighting guy, he's the fighter, the FGC dude. And I was like, I think we need to start this early because there is a crowd forming in this small aisle and we are quickly becoming a fire hazard, and it just
Yeah.
blossomed from there essentially.
Yeah, I think everyone had a lot of fun there. We actually have footage of that.
Yeah.
That is, we're working on a video right now, and we'll talk a little bit more about it later. But we will have some footage of that so everyone can see it. But I think at some point, Joel from who runs Long Island Retro saw all the craziness, and we got to talking afterwards, and I think we threw out one of us just threw out the idea of like, hey, we should have it part of the official tournament for Long Island Retro. And when everything shut down for a few years for COVID, but once everything started coming back, at some point maybe they reached out to us or something, and the conversation got started again somehow about Pole Calibur coming to Long Island Retro, and they actually agreed to do it as part of their official kind of tournament, and it actually kicked off Saturday, the first official day of their tournaments on Saturday, kicked off the whole day. It started at I think 11 o'clock, right when the show opened.
Right.
So yeah, I guess maybe we should just also explain, Scotty, what Pole Caliber is for someone who's not kind of familiar with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For you noobs out there, no, but you can see behind me the Dreamcast fishing rod. I would grab it and show it, but there is a serious balancing act going on back here between this Dino mask, the rod, and like all my silly plushies and Jimmy the Bat. But so Soul Calibur, sequel to Soul Edge, one of the launch games for Dreamcast, fighting game, weapon-based fighter, arena fighter thing. And but for whatever reason, you can use that fishing rod controller with it, like you would waggle a Wiimote, and just waggle and pray and do your best. And that realizing that works, that's been a part of the Dreamcast 24-hour marathon, is like the final thing to wake us up for the climax of the whole show, because you got to stand up and wave it around like a psychopath. And it just works. And there's some sort of logistics to it that I think Antichrist has sort of figured out, but at the same time, we saw new stuff at this tournament that's like, well, throw those ideas out the window, you know. So that's what that is. So it's fun, and it's something that's very just the level of entry is very low, because anyone can wave a thing around like a crate. That's why the Wii, this is as popular as it is, or as like fun as and entertaining as it is, just like the Wii was with Wii Sports and like all that other stuff, that you can just stand up there and you accomplish something by waving your hand around.
They could have certainly released this game on the Wii
Oh
and
yeah.
just had it do, at a Wiimote, and it would have been awesome. You know,
Hmm.
there's no reason why they couldn't have. But
Right.
it functions essentially the same way, and so the idea is, it's, I think we do best 2 out of 3, um,
Hmm.
and that's kind of the basis of our tournament, right? That's the simple rules, but there's no button presses and no using the analog. It's just, yeah,
Right.
it's just
Which is also
waggle
like,
and pray.
and we've even, you can tell someone walks up and they're like, I got to use a stick. And it's like, you don't, the stick on the rod is like super floaty compared to the controller. So you will not even be able to do like quarter circles or anything easily. So it's funny to just like, you have to retrain your brain for a quick second there and stuff. But we tell
Hmm.
people waggle only, buttons are for wusses. Like we had a sign next to the TV at Long Island to enforce that. So
Yep. Yep. So how do the tournament happened on Saturday, 11 o'clock right on the dot. We were worried at first that we weren't going to get enough people, because we were like really the first, like I said, the first tournament of the day, and
yeah,
we weren't really able to generate a lot of buzz on Friday because we were all just still driving in and everything.
yeah.
So we were worried about that, but I think that all worked itself out, and we had a full roster.
Yeah, I think it's we really didn't know how to approach it at first, because also the signups, you do them online to enroll in the tournament, whereas previously with conventions it was just you got to get there first day or day before the tourney, write your name on a list or whatever. So it was all online on an app with the GG app or whatever it is, I forget. But and we saw a couple signed up. The only name I remember is Meat Sauce, or Joe Bomberman, Joe Bomberman, whatever, I forget. Sorry, but no, it was just like, yeah, how do we build hype? Because also the vendor floor is not open on Friday, so we couldn't even really display this thing and hype it up at our booth. So we're just like, I think when we first looked at the app, there were 4 names on there, 4 entrants, and then day before, I think I saw like 10 or something. Then morning of, there were 13 entrants, and we're like, let's hope they show up. Let's just, and also we're going a mile a minute. Like we have to shift everything, basically take our booth over to the tourney area and make sure angles are good for filming, make sure everything's there. We have everything we need. Of course, there were tech issues going on with trying to stream it directly, blah blah blah. So we had 2 camera feeds going, because we had Dustin doing his actual movie magic work,
Yep.
and then
Mhm.
my phone connected to our Twitch doing a live stream of that, which I honestly, a lot of people were asking like, "Oh, is this going to be on Twitch? Is this going to be on Twitch and stuff?" And we're like, "Yep, go to our Twitch, follow us, handed out
Yeah.
flyers with the AR code or QR code." But I think it was just a lot of. I thought it was a typo. I thought this was Soul Calibur. I was like, happy to disappoint. This is Pole Calibur,
Yeah.
like. And then when
That's
people
even
are coming
that's
into it
even
too.
like one of the most fun things I got is like, okay, you're signed up now you got to play. And I think there were a couple people that were like, oh, I don't really want to play this because
I think
they were
we did lose
but
some people that were like, I think just 2 people maybe were like, it's not Soul Calibur. We're like, all right, whatever. I got to focus on this. Cool, see ya.
yeah,
Like,
but there were a few others that I noticed that as they started playing, they like loved it, and
yeah.
they're completely flipped. Like as they started, experiencing it and got a few, practice rounds in,
Hmm.
they got really
Hmm.
excited about it, and it was pretty funny. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
just
how,
like
how
our
do you think the tournament
magazine.
went overall then?
I think it's like just like our magazine. You don't understand it until you are holding it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
I think it was great. I think, thank goodness Antichrist was there to be the FGC dude and manage the bracket, because I was the mascot with the dino mask on, running around and screaming stuff. And it took me a little bit to kind of get into the realm of being just obnoxious and yelling, because people were focusing on the game, obviously more than me. But there was the quote that I heard at one point of someone, like when we were a little bit more into it. I think we did take up the full hour and a half, or maybe longer. I
Yeah,
forget.
yeah,
Um,
we did.
that was the thing too. At first, we thought like these matches are going to go quick, so it is kind of equivalent to button mashing in a fighting game. But so let's do 2 out of 3, and then even still, we're like, are we going to last an hour and a half with this game that takes like 30 seconds to go through a match? But we had enough people. And at one point, I heard someone say this was worth the price of admission alone, and it's like, oh wow, I was not like, I didn't get really like choked up or anything, but it was like that person means that, because this is just absurd. Like a lot of people had no idea what they were going into. So
Yeah,
I think the
there was
hype
a
was
lot of
real, the
people.
excitement was real, the confusion that leads into excitement, and a lot of people like, how does this work? And you can talk about other stuff, other goofy Dreamcast games and things like that, and accessories and whatever. So overwhelmingly positive reception, I think.
Yeah, we should say too. We should thank the guys and the people really that really helped this tournament side of things.
Right.
Jesse and Joel both were great to work with, but they had a whole team out there of people who were making just the tournament stuff happen, and they were awesome to work with. So
Yeah.
they made it as easy as possible for us just to get set up and all that. And when we did ask for anything, whether it was like a TV or electrical cords or whatever it may be, that they were really helpful and super awesome. And
Yes.
I just think overall it was one of the best ran shows I've attended,
Yeah.
especially from a vendor standpoint. I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, we we didn't mention this initially, but just what Long Island RetroCon is, or I say it wrong every time. The name is so long. Long Island Retro Gaming Expo,
That's right.
2022. It's like a Conan O'Brien skit, an old like, but so it's at the Cradle of Aviation in New York in Long Island, which is a museum just with every airplane, aircraft, space related, anything that's been in some sort of flight is represented
Right.
at
Yeah.
this thing essentially. And so it's 3 floors. They don't use the top floor, which is okay because there's still plenty going on. But you have the show floor as soon as you walk in, the vendor floor, and then right behind it is that like OmniMax panel room. But then it shoots off in all directions between tournaments to the timeline of the consoles under glass to like free play of every console under the sun. Like you and I, our jaws were dropping at some of the stuff we were seeing under glass. Like some of the stuff that we've like eyed on eBay for years, and it's like this is the closest I'm ever gonna get to this thing, so I'm gonna drool over this glass now, to
They
like,
had that Dreamcast TV thing. It's like the Dream something. I forget what they
it
call it.
might be called the Dream TV, something as easy
Divers,
as that or
Divers
something.
2000 or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Like,
it looks like a Space Channel 5 TV,
yes.
and
Yeah.
I remember back in the day in the early like the mid 2000s, those things were not that expensive or hard to come by,
Yep.
and now they go for like thousands and thousands of dollars on eBay.
Yep. Yep.
Uh but they had all sorts of
Oh,
stuff like that. And it,
so many
it was
crazy
really neat
things.
just to walk around and get a look at things. And I always kind of pride myself on having a pretty decent hardware collection.
Yeah.
And there's
Same.
just like, man, I am nowhere near anything where I thought I was. So
Yeah, because it's
that was
like
really cool.
I did do I tried to get a floor tour of the show before things opened on Sunday, and we're gonna hopefully do like a time lapse or something like that, to show people just it's such a different setup. And it really, but like before I get away from the consoles, it was that moment of like, oh my gosh, it's the Panasonic GameCube that plays DVDs and it's shiny and crazy and
Right. Yeah.
thousands of dollars. And it's like, and then you turn around, you're looking around, oh my gosh, they have another one. Like 30% of the production line of the Panasonic GameCube is here. Um, and but it did at first, like walking around, it felt like this convention was birthed from, hey, we have an idea for a show, can we borrow your space that is also a museum? But the way they use the space is, because I would say that it's like it's as if Magfest had to be condensed into a smaller building but still function uh almost a little more, not better, but just in a cleaner, more organized way. Aside from not too many panels, but I kind of like that because I don't feel like I'm missing every panel under the sun. But yeah, it just blew me away how well this thing was put together, and then that leads to the tournament was very very well assisted between the staff and just what we had at our disposal and the space at our disposal and everything.
Yeah, for sure. We should also say really quickly, shout out to Dan over at VGNY Soft. He
Yeah,
created these cool little Pole Caliber keychains that we gave out to the winners, but also people that came to our booth and they had to defeat Scotty wearing the Lizard Man mask at Pole Caliber. So I
yeah.
think maybe this is a new thing that we'll start doing at our booth. If people come over and can defeat Lizard Man, then they win a keychain.
Yeah, and for
That'd be kind of
listeners, the
fun.
logo is essentially the art from uh the Soul Calibur like universe of Lizard Man standing there with his sword in his right hand, facing you with the shield. There you go. And but instead of the sword, it's the fishing rod controller. It says Pole Calibur there, and then below it says Mega Visions. It's pretty sweet, and that logo is also on Chris's shirt, which is for sale on megavisions.net. Go there now and rep the pole as best you can.
Yeah, so if you go to our shop, go to our homepage, and there's a link right at the top for our store, and you can go there. And so this is one actually ready to ship
We had people
right
asking about
now.
them once
That
they
will be
figured
going out
out
the door.
what was happening and what this whole thing was, which I was not expecting,
Well,
honestly.
I knew that I had a feeling that there were going to be people that wanted to buy them there, but the problem was is that if once we get stuff like that, you're going to have to buy it in bulk,
Yeah.
really,
Hmm.
and you're going to need sizes for a whole range of that, and we just didn't have enough time to make that happen. But what we have though is on our web store, like basically print to order for your shirt right there, so you could go there and get it, and
Yep.
yeah, you can rep the Pole Caliber.
Gosh, so many phrases came out of
That's the new
this
tagline.
and
I know.
continue to.
Yeah, it was fun. So, um, so yeah, so definitely go check out our Pole Caliber T-shirt. And yeah, if you ever see us hosting Pole Caliber at a show, be sure to come up and maybe you can win your own a Pole Caliber keychain. I kind of like the fact that the only way you can get one of these is maybe defeating Lizard Man, and
Yeah.
so they'll become kind of a rare source of pride that people can show.
Yeah.
And I think there's a few people that even tweeted um, their keychain too, which is kind of
Right.
neat to show off what they won. So that was really cool. So yeah, let's just keep talking about. So we did do Pole Caliber. That was a lot of fun. Uh, one of the things that it's always interesting is the hotel experience when we go to these conventions now.
Yep.
I will say this probably wasn't one of our better quality
We were
hotels that we've
spoiled in
been to. We
Boston with
stayed at
PAX,
a
though.
yeah. Yeah, we got a really good hotel accommodations in Boston. That was great. But we stayed at a Red Roof Inn this time, which I think had 2 stars on
Oh, good.
Expedia, come to find out. But here's the thing. They were by far the cheapest, but also just the closest hotel in terms of just because I wasn't we didn't know like what the parking situation is really going to be like there or anything like that. So that was the one we got, and yeah, it just smelled like smoke. We were in a non-smoking room. I had a towel I picked up, and it had like a long black hair on it, and
Mm-hmm.
that was just gross. Um, the
The chair
the
next to the
chair that
bed
was in there was like worn
and it's
down.
and it says something about today and like fashion and all that crap that at first I was like, oh, they're going for that like worn modern New York apartment. Then it's like, no, I don't think they are. Then it's like, hey guys, I'm gonna run to
It's
Lowe's
been
and get some wet wipes. I like even
yeah.
during pandemic, I was like, I'm here now, and yeah, I want to wipe down stuff that I'm putting things on.
I should have expected, and I did expect it, but there was no continental breakfast, no breakfast of any sort. They did have a coffee machine downstairs. The coffee was okay, but yeah, I would probably rate it a 2 out of 5. Scotty,
Yeah,
what about you?
I mean, we slept there. I don't know. That's my review. We slept there.
The staff was actually
Staff
pretty
was
pretty
fine. Yeah,
friendly.
there
So
weren't any actual
yeah, so I mean
issues.
that
Yeah,
I mean aside just from the accommodations. And that's the thing, like I'm kind of mad about because a lot of these places, I don't think that Red Roof Inn was ever had any sort of continental breakfast or anything because I don't think they had like a full dining room or anything like that
yeah.
really.
There
But
wasn't really a place
as
for
we
it to
start
happen. Yeah.
as we start going to more of these hotels and stuff, though, that's certainly one thing I'm going to be looking at because I understand like during the COVID time frame, like where we couldn't have like the breakfast because you couldn't, be eating in within whatever. But now that that's back on, like it's allowed, I'm expecting to have some breakfast at these hotels that we're
It's
going to.
Yeah, and I want to clarify, we're not expecting like make your own omelet or anything like that. Like I'm fine with the thing that I liked at PAX or up in Boston anyway. The final day we did all sit down and have breakfast to kind of go into the calm of the final. I think that was Saturday. Actually, was that Saturday? Maybe Sunday. I don't remember. Anyway, I just like to be able to grab a banana to eat while we're walking to the subway. Not the restaurant, an actual subway system, train system.
Yeah,
Um,
even a grab and go type thing would
yeah,
work. That
that's
would that
all.
would be
Yeah,
fine
your
too.
little mini
That's
box of
functional at
Frosted
least. But
Flakes or something.
but I will say I do like to be spoiled when we go to these things. So if there is one available that does have a like build your own omelet, we're definitely going
Oh my
there.
gosh, I've
So
not experienced that.
um
That comes from my time at West Virginia University, the nicest campus I've ever been on. They had a build your own omelet thing on Saturdays, and I was like, perfect hangover food. Let me throw all this in my dumb face.
let's talk about some meal reviews, what we did there too, because the first night we got in and we were just like, let's just go grab something. And we went to like kind of a local diner, which is actually pretty good,
Yeah, it
I
wasn't
thought. What do you
bad.
think?
Antichrist is a local to the New York area, and he's like, we got to just hit up a diner. I was like, all right, cool. We were all kind of still in go mode, so I just typed in diner with the closest one. I'm like, I don't freaking care about anything right now because I just drove and we set up, and my body still hasn't stopped. I picked a diner. Let's get in my car and go eat. But it was nice. It was a
Yep.
fancier. I don't know. I don't even know how to. I've never had to describe a restaurant, so I don't know how to really describe it. But we started out with like coleslaw and a
Yeah,
pickle.
it just looked like a kind of a classic diner.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was funny. The coleslaw and pickle. Everyone got one except Antichrist because it was because he wasn't supposed to get one. Is
Right.
what it was, and he made a big deal about it. Like
Well,
he was like upset. Like
it's not
he
even
didn't get
that.
one. He's
It's
like, "Where's
just
my
that
coleslaw and pickle?" But it was more of a
he's
joke. It was kind of a
yeah,
joke.
he's just a loud guy, so his voice carries. So even though he said it quote under his breath, it was still like the server could hear him say it. So
Yeah, and then it was just kind of funny, but yeah, we were so hungry that I don't think normally I would just scarf down a bowl of coleslaw like that as an
no, I
appetizer,
definitely would
but I
not.
think
Yeah.
everyone ate all of their coleslaw. Um, yeah, we were so hungry. So yeah, no, it was pretty good food. I enjoyed first night of dinner, but the second night we ended up going to our go-to, our old faithful. We went to
The
Applebee's.
Megavision's convention favorite, Applebee's. When
How
you're
does it always happen that we end up going to Applebee's? But
the area we were in, what it felt like we were always in a mall parking lot whenever we were driving, but like there were enough restaurants and
yeah,
stuff around that I I think it was a combination of that like after party vendors only thing that Long Island had some beers out there, and so I think at that point I was in the con mode of I'm feeling good and buzzed and exhausted. And you know what we had last time this happened? It was Applebee's. So we already had our quote New York food experience with the diners. So let's just go get some Applebee's for the sake of putting something in our stomachs.
yeah. I will say though too. I think this Applebee's was better than the last one we went to at in Boston.
Oh yeah,
I
for
liked it
sure.
better.
Yeah, and the joke behind
So
that, my fiance Rachel is a foodie, And when we were in Boston, she was like, "You got to check out the local this and that." I was like, "Oh, we're at Applebee's," and she was like legitimately mad. We just went to a freaking Applebee's, so it became a joke, and that's where we are now.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's yeah, it's funny. Like I now kind of look forward to at least hitting up Applebee's one night when we're all together. It's kind of funny. So
It's also the
it's become a thing.
familiarity,
So
so it's just like you
uh,
don't feel pressured to pick like I gotta experience the specific, New York pizza or something.
right, yeah, yeah, for sure. So, um, yeah. So like overall, I guess what else on a personal side? Like, were you able to get away from the booth for a little bit? Because I know we're working pretty much the entire weekend, whether it's you playing Pole Calibur with someone or helping to sell issues and all of that sort of thing. I think we did get a little bit of time to run out and do some personal things, though. What were some of the things you did?
Yeah, I ran around a little bit. I hit up some deals, tried to hit up some deals. I bought some games on Dreamcast. I One of them does not work, and I am an idiot and did not realize we have a
Oh
Dreamcast at
no.
our booth, you moron. Why didn't you just test your game out there in 5 seconds? And I could have got my money back, but I'm gonna try to get it buffed out. It's whatever. I still got a better deal than other people were trying to sell. I bought Carrier on the Dreamcast, talked a guy down from 40 to 35. After doing a lap and finding another booth trying to sell it to me for 90, I'm like, you people, this bubble only exists because you're making it now. I hit up the Cinemassacre slash Screenwave slash Retroware booth and grabbed some AVGN and stuff there, Angry Video Game Nerd and stuff. And grabbed a vinyl, got that Mega Man Legends 2 vinyl because that might be hard to come by. Um,
Sweet.
but cool little Dreamcast lanyard. I did a pickup video on my personal YouTube if anyone's super curious about the stuff I grabbed. But um, it was cool just walking around the floor and the convention and seeing all the consoles and everything. But also meeting people that were into what we were doing. And special shout out to Tony, who was just there to BS with us, and like he listens to the podcasts and stuff. He was quoting stuff from like even Static Zone and Scrubverse, and he's like, "Where's the military guy?" And I was like, "Oh, you got to be more specific." But like he knew who Rachel was from hearing through the podcast and stuff, because he said he drives a lot for his job. But it was really cool to just BS with people that I don't. It's a weird thing to call them fans because I don't know. People just like what we do and they relate to it, so they are fun to talk to. Um, but yeah, shouts out to
Right. Yeah.
Tony and a lot of cool other vendors that were just. It's a nice community. Like the guys at Eon, Justin was. They were doing this cool scavenger hunt of. They make the converter cables like to play your GameCube on an HD TV and N64 HD out and stuff. And they were doing this cool little scavenger hunt with small GameCubes scattered about the floor at vendors to get them to check out other vendors, but also if you find it, bring it back to them. You get a prize at their booth. And so there wasn't really anywhere to hide it at ours after I was talking with Justin for a little bit. But he's like, what if you do like they find it real quick, but then gotta defeat you at Pole Calibur like you guys are already doing. I was like, that's a good idea. But one of the the highlights for the weekend and with the booth are always when kids are excited about the dinosaur mask and waving the rod around, and like parents, the excitement on like the parents' faces of just like letting their kid go nuts for 30 seconds. But the one cool moment was like Justin approached me real quick. Their booth was 5 feet from ours, like caddy corner. They were doing tournaments and like a 16-man Mario Kart Double Dash and all kinds of things to show off their hardware they had. But it was
Yeah,
just
they
cool
were
guys,
hyping their stuff up all weekend long. They were doing a
man.
good job.
Yeah, the only thing that I would totally steal from them is having. I think he was just using. I don't think it was even a megaphone. I think it might have been a karaoke system they set up or something, just a mic to be the announcer and whatever. I would love if we had that at our booth, but everyone would hate us. But for Pole Caliber mainly, but like he like ran up to me real quick.
Coming.
Justin ran up to me. He's like, "Hey, this kid couldn't find any GameCubes anywhere, but I was wondering if you'd be willing to like let him win something still by playing him in Pole Calibur. I was like, sure, whatever. Threw the mask on and played some Pole Calibur against him. He beat me. We gave him a keychain, and then he goes over back to their booth and gets a freebie because I think it was near the end of the con too. Maybe they weren't really doing the scavenger hunt anymore, and he was real bummed he missed out. So it was cool to like turn that kid's day around or help him out a little bit. No, that was a lot of fun and networking with people. The mom that came up and tried to buy the Dino mask was quite an endeavor. English was not her first
That's what we
language,
were
so
mentioning her.
her daughter was trying to explain what was going on. We're like, yeah, the mask isn't for sale, and then she ended up teaching us how to say dinosaur in Polish, and it was something. It was something else, and it was hilarious because she was not
Yeah,
taking no for
I
an
wish we
answer
had
for a little
Marston
bit.
there.
Exactly, yeah. Um, but a lot of people asking, not a lot, but some asking if they could buy the fishing rods if we were selling them, or if we were selling the dino mask, or things like that are always funny and interesting, and just only things you experience at a convention with the Megavisions booth. But no, just hanging out and making the kids laugh. That sounds weird. Just how goofy and fun the Pole Calibur and Dino Mask challenge is, and like seeing the excitement that this goofy thing brings, and being able to show people the magazine that like we have different waves of excitement at our booth that is I don't think something you see at everybody because it's another booth that just slaps a game logo on a t-shirt or something, but it is what it is. Not to slam any of the other booths. There were some cool artists.
Yeah.
There were some cool retro booths there as well. Seeing a lot of cassettes and VHS pop up, among other things. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Just walking around again at the layout of this thing was something I'd never seen before too.
Yeah, I thought, like you mentioned it earlier, but just the setting and kind of the ambiance of the convention itself being in the Cradle of Aviation makes it a unique experience, unlike most other conventions we go to where they're in a kind of a standard convention hall. So I think that is really, really awesome. That was one of my coolest kind of memories of just being in there. I was just like, man, this is such a neat space to be used for a convention. And I think all the technology, the kind of you see the evolution of aircraft and flight throughout the museum, but you also kind of see that same thing with all of the generations of video games, and it's just this neat kind of correlation of technology that you kind of see throughout the time. So I think the two go hand to hand really well,
Right.
and you
Yeah.
might not think that. So I think that was one of the coolest parts of it. But for me personally, one of the things I was really excited about, the Cheap Ass Gamer podcast. These
Right.
guys have been going and doing a live podcast recording at iRetro for years now, and I've never had attended before, but I've been listening to the CADcast. Geez, I want to say probably since they started. I think it was like 2005 or something.
Wow.
And so I was really excited to go to that. I think that was on Saturday or Sunday, and just so happened, like it was crazy. Chris Baker, who he was around, and he came by to say hi at the booth, and we were just kind of BSing a little bit. And I was like, hey, I'm about to head into the Cheap Ass Gamer podcast. I think he was actually going that way too, and we decided to go and watch it together. So that was a lot of fun too, just chatting with him and getting caught up on everything they've been doing over Zen Studios. And so that was really neat. The podcast itself was funny. I love like Cheapy, Wombat and Shipwreck. They're great personalities, and it's funny because I totally relate to them. I'm a middle-aged dad. I have kids who are all gamers themselves, and so listening to all the stuff that they go through, and it's I relate to a lot. So it was a lot of fun seeing them live and that sort of thing. And uh, just I didn't get a chance to really get out and buy anything. I'm not really looking to do that so much at conventions these days, but just I think talking to people and meeting new people like that is a lot of fun. I will say though that I did get some recent releases from VGNY Soft, and they were
Oh.
there selling these games. So I just do want to quickly shout out some of these real quick.
Right on.
We got Shadow Gangs, and these are all physical releases for the Sega Dreamcast. And they're all shipping right now from VGNY Soft. So we got Shadow Gangs here. We have Hermes,
Yeah,
which you can buy
I
the
was holding up my
standard
copy. I got the VMU
Hermes,
one.
or you can get. Oh, cool. Yeah, so you can get that one too with the VMU that comes with an actual Hermes branded green VMU that's fully functional. It was awesome opening this up because it's a brand new VMU, and you slide the little tab, the battery tab out the back, just like from back in the day, and then you have to go through the whole setup of the VMU. It's the cutest, most adorable thing. Sega really missed out. I think that they should have just released kind of almost like a Tamagotchi style
Yep.
VMU device that has like updated like a small like LED or LCD screen, and that you can just, I don't know, like maybe just raise like a Chow's or Sonic, or I don't know. I mean, it's such an easy function, small form factor. You can put it on a keychain or in your pocket. I just think there's a lot more there that they never did
I've
anything
noticed
with. That's a
Tamagotchis are
shame.
coming back. Maybe
Um,
let's bring the VMU back, Sega. Clearly now is the time.
yeah, yeah, it should. And then I will say too, Postal's another one that
I
they
should have grabbed
released
that, but I had
recently, and
already spent enough money.
yeah, that one, it was, I didn't realize that I had uh already pre-ordered the Postal from Wave, who
Oh,
they're based in the UK, and I think the way it works, VGNY Soft uh distributes a lot of the Wave stuff here in North America, and I think vice versa. They have kind of a publishing agreement there, so that's why we're seeing a lot of these releases. I will say I still prefer the North American jewel cases. These European ones
oh,
are
yeah.
just not great, and even, I mean, the reproduction molds are decent, but I don't know how they're going to hold up long term either.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Compared to like the official Dreamcast ones. So definitely, yeah. The VGMY Soft folks, they're great. They have a lot of awesome releases. We're going to be covering a lot of their stuff on the website and in the magazine. It just makes sense. They're one of the few publishers out there that are working to release physical Dreamcast games today, and we love that. But in addition to that, they're also doing releases on the Switch and other stuff. So definitely check them out. There was another studio there, and I think they might be the only other indie studios. Scotty, I don't know if you had a chance to go up there and check
I
out
did
their booth.
not,
They're actually right
unfortunately.
next to VGNY Soft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had a few interesting releases. I forget his name, but the gentleman that ran the booth, he came over. We had a chat. I think it was like Sunday morning, and we ended up going upstairs, and he showed me, all their different games. One of the ones that was pretty neat is called Dynabomb 2, and has a really cool visual aesthetic. It looks kind of cartoony, and I played it a little bit. It just actually released on the Switch, the Xbox, and I think PlayStation as well this past week. So it's like a $20 budget release. But a lot of them are very familiar from there's like Metroidvania style games. So it's all very retro. You know what you're going to get with a lot of these games, but they have nice visual aesthetics to them, and the gameplay looks pretty good. So we'll definitely keep looking at Seven Raven Studios' releases as well.
Uh-oh. Internet. Uh-oh. Pal has lagged out big time. This is now the Scotty
It was
Mo show.
wild. It
There
was
you are. You
fun.
super lagged out after you said we're going to be doing more stuff with them or keep an eye on them. You lagged out a bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm watching my video like quality there. It's dipping a little bit, but no, I was just gonna say, I did like what I saw from Seven Raven Studios, so I'm gonna keep an eye, and potentially we'll keep covering more of their releases going forward.
Yeah, there was I remember actually on the floor tour I did, I happened to walk up there and saw you, so I panned over and like you were you were honed in to whatever you were playing. And I just remembered that right behind you also was that Game Boy camera that we felt like the oldest people in the world not being able to figure out. But it was just a really cool setup with the indie stuff and like all of VGN Soft stuff up there too. So yeah, I do have to check out their stuff
That
now.
was the Game Boy camera. That was so funny because it looked like a couple old fogies like trying to learn how to use like an iPhone for the first time, but
Yeah.
it was a Game Boy camera. Like we had used this tech back when we were kids, but for the life of us, we could not figure
Yeah,
out like how to
I
get it
literally have one sitting
to
in a
take a picture of
drawer
us
like 3 feet
or
from me,
what.
and we're like, shoot, and it would just flip back to the home screen. We're like, what? I'm gonna chalk it up to maybe the memory was full and they didn't think through 1,000 people using that in a weekend or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but I think that's pretty much all I had going on at Ally Retro. Was there anything else like that you wanted to talk about Ally Retro related before
I
we
don't
wrap up?
think so. I'm sad I missed out on some of the score challenges. Like there was a crazy taxi thing, and other things going on. There just wasn't. I think if I could say one critique is open up the floor on Friday, but I know it's a museum first and then a convention hall second, because I feel like there's definitely enough that they could have a full 3 days going of this thing, like open up maybe a little bit earlier on Friday or something, because I feel like there's so much happening that, and like Antichrist told us after the fact, like have more secret rooms or wherever they were, not escape rooms or things like that, but he said there was like secret rooms or something. I don't know. I there was a lot going on at this thing, so
I didn't even. Yeah, I had no idea that was even a thing, but I would love more of that. That sounds pretty crazy.
yeah, lots of cool stuff. Definitely a lot of things I've not seen at conventions that some shows could learn. And it seemed like there were a lot of people. It was a good small hub for people that are like veterans of the con scene, between like the Cinemassacre crew and like John Riggs was there, Pat the NES Punk, and like you said, the CAD cast and everybody. Like it was like something in between Too Many Games and PAX, it felt like. Because I feel like Magfest and Too Many Games are kind of in the same homegrown zone right now still, but PAX is obviously way bigger, but this is like somewhere in between there, I feel. A little bit of
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I hope it never really outgrows the space there because I think that maybe they have a little bit more to grow to use on that third level.
yeah.
But I like how it still feels like a smaller show. But you're right, like there's aspects of the industry and there's like really great panels, some of the best panels that I've seen in a
Oh, Jeremy
convention. There were
Parrish,
some
we didn't
really
even
interesting
mention was
ones that I
there.
wish I could have
Unfortunately,
gone to.
yeah, didn't
But
get to hang out with him, or but you know, it is
yeah.
what it is.
He did an SG
I
1000
know. Oh
panel,
my
and oh my
gosh.
god, like I'm a huge SG 1000 fan. I own. Yeah, so I was really bummed I wasn't able to attend that one. But maybe there's the video will pop up online. I hope, and I can watch it later. But yeah, no, it was a great show. We're definitely going to be back next year. I hope. I haven't talked about next year's plans, but I would love, and I think I can speak for the entire team, Scotty, that we'd love to bring Pole Calibur back next year,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Oh, for sure. I think they kind of saw also. This is my ego. I'm talking out my butt, but I really feel like we gave the impression of, oh, maybe this shouldn't have been the opening tournament. Maybe we should have like done this a little bit further, hype it up a little bit more, you know. So
Yeah, and maybe what we could do, and I'm totally just talking on the fly here, but I think it would be fun maybe if we integrated Pole Caliber into the mixer on Saturday night, where we're
oh my
having like the
god.
band is up there playing. Maybe we could bring Pole Caliber and having that. That would be an awesome setting for that, right?
Yeah, that I could see that. I could see that doing a lot for. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe we have some plans for everyone listening for next year. Joel, if you guys are listening, maybe we can talk some more. But yeah, from a vendor standpoint, we're definitely going to be back next year. And we'll let everyone know, on the podcast going forward and everywhere else, like where we're going to be at the next shows. we don't really have any solid plans if we're gonna like attend MagFest formally yet or not, because that's always been kind of our show that we just go to kind of relax and just enjoy it. And I'm worried that if we then get a table, we're just gonna be working the entire weekend, and then it kind of takes all the fun out of it. And so I'm just kind of trying to figure out where we want to go from that standpoint, you know.
Right. No, I 100% agree. Magfest is a juggling act at times because it is a 24-hour thing. So I don't know. Oh man, now that I say that out loud, I'm like, oh my gosh, we'd be dead trying to run a booth and doing it with those extended hours and whatever. But it's also so much fun.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Hmm. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to getting everyone back together. Whether we do a panel or not, or a booth, or whether we just hang out, I'm really looking forward to it. So, all right, I think that's gonna wrap up the show. So is there anything upcoming that you want to throw out there to the listeners?
I mean, we mentioned it before. Less than a month. It's only I'm looking at the calendar here. It's basically 3 weeks away is the Dreamcast 24-hour marathon. So just hop on the website. We've been plugging that thing like mad on social media. For those that have no idea what it is one of the events you have to attend digitally because we are right now. Let's see, it's going to be me, Corey, TJ is hosting, his buddy Matt, our buddy T-Bone, Anti-Chris, at least 6 of us bros broing it up at TJ's house with the Dreamcast for 24 hours to raise money for Extra Life and bring awareness of that, and also how insane the Dreamcast was and everything. That's always a lot of fun. We're gonna be all over the socials for that too. Hopefully hit up Galloping Ghosts out there and things like that. I think Marson's gonna make an appearance here or there because he's out in Chicago too. But that's probably like the next Megavisions event happening. Because I don't issue 3 won't be out quite yet for that, but after that, then I'll throw it over to you because I think that's going to be the next thing really with Megavisions going on after the marathon.
Yeah, like you're saying, Scotty, issue 3 is coming along. I'm excited because, like I said earlier, I'm shifting my focus to production on issue 3. So you will start seeing a lot more updates regarding that and when that issue is going to be done. We'll definitely announce all that stuff, but I'm very excited because we're making progress on it. We already have layouts, coming out this week. Very, very cool stuff. So, with that said, I just want to encourage everyone once again to go and check out our Patreon at www.patreon.com/megavisions so you can subscribe to a physical or digital edition of Megavisions magazine. And with that said, that's going to do it for this episode. We hope you all enjoyed it and stay safe, and we will see you back next time. Take it easy.
See ya.